whoa.
What's the problem?
This
What's the matter?
This is not a Jet show.
So what?
So how about this?
Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Oh, come on. I don't want to hear this.
Why not? Super Bowl champions.
Doesn't matter. I just don't want to hear it.
What do you want to hear?
How about some Mets?
Hey, if I can find one good thing that happened to the Mets, here we go.
Home run. Mike Piazza. And the Mets lead 3-2.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be, I'm sorry. We all can't be like the Yankees.
Oh, speaking of.
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Goodbye, home run. Don Mattingly.
No. God, I can't believe I just said that. All right, well, listen. How about a little Nets?
If I have to.
Kid, the jumper to win it. He got it.
I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. It's been a second. I can't take it. How about some Knicks?
Oh, yeah, big spenders. Can't win a playoff.
Fair enough.
Houston pops out up top, down the lane, running jumper off the front rim and in.
I guess we should talk a little hockey, no?
People even watch hockey anymore?
They watch the Rangers.
Well, if you have the Rangers, you gotta have some balance.
Yeah, no, they didn't have a YouTube in the 80s.
All right, let's get the show started.
Here we are, polar opposites.
Hello and welcome to the Polar Opposite Show, live on Strong Island TV. You can also get our shows on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and other places. You can follow us on Twitter at Polar Opposites 1. I'm Matt Stevens. Alongside me, as always, we already got a phone call. This is crazy. This is Craig Moffat. Craig?
Let's go.
Welcome to the Polar Opposite Show. How you doing tonight? What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, guess not. So, we got a lot to get to. Craig, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Matt.
Good.
Good to have you back.
It was. Excellent job flying solo. Much
Thank you.
appreciated. That definitely deserves a
And boom goes the dynamite.
excellent job. Excellent job. We got a lot to get to today before we get to halftime, before we get to polar bipolar. We got buzzer bell. We got all sorts of stuff happening. We're going to start with a little NFL.
Yep.
With a little NFL playoffs after the crazy weekend this past weekend. Well, the one crazy game and three other games.
Well, let's say it. Well, quickly on Saturday.
do it.
And I mean real quick.
Yeah,
on Saturday.
like 2 seconds.
Okay. Falcons, Eagles, incredibly boring.
Oh.
Okay. Patriots, Titans, no surprise at the outcome.
Yes.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The unbelievable thing is we have a Nick Foles, Case Keenum championship.
Well, we are setting up, Craig, for a Blake Bortles, Case Keenum Super Bowl, a Super Bowl that not one prognosticator predicted would happen this year. So we got that going. Now on Sunday, we have the Steelers they crapped the bed. And they didn't need to necessarily win that game, but they got manhandled in that game.
The funny thing was about that game is I couldn't really tell if the Jaguars played that well or the Steelers sort of beat themselves, because in the first half, it was Roethlisberger turning the ball over, and then that brutal fumble in the third quarter, the Telvin Smith touchdown. Okay, but then you just saw the Steelers' defense. They didn't have a big stop at all,
right,
like in that game. They gave up some big pass plays, especially in the second half, and then on top of that, couple that with Tomlin's horrible coaching, going for an onside kick with 2.5 minutes to go in the game with 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning.
He became Andy Reid in the last 2 minutes of that game. It was unbelievable.
So they do the onside kick and they botch it.
Yes, it was awful. He didn't even go 4 yards.
He basically kicked it to the guy on the far end of the kickoff team, right?
So
That's exactly what he did. And then on top of that, you need the Steeler defense to get a stop, and they let the Jaguars kick a field goal, and that pretty much put the game kind of out of reach. And then I'm reading more and more into it after the game, maybe a day or two after the game. And there was a story going around that basically the way the Steelers kind of weren't really, there was no rush, there was no really sense of urgency in that last
they thought they were
minute.
just going to win.
Yeah, they thought the Jags were going to win the game. So it kind of pissed off a lot of the minority owners of the team, like minority share owners of the team, to the point where they want Tomlin fired. Now, that's never going to happen because
that's not the way Pittsburgh Steelers do business. But to be honest with you, the way Tomlin's coached that team over the last couple of years in the playoffs, it wouldn't be crazy. Now, he would get a job at a second, but it wouldn't be crazy.
But that last like 5 minutes of the game, I thought were just awful. And then on top of that, like I said, Roethlisberger had the fumble where Telvin Smith picked it up, ran it back for a touchdown. That was another dagger.
Right.
But it just kept seeing, every time the Jaguars would score, the Steelers would match them. The Steelers would come back with a touchdown. And then, like, right before the half, because listen, the Jags D didn't play that great. I didn't think they played well. They gave up some really big plays. I mean, they had turnovers when it mattered, but that, like, for example, that touchdown right before the end of the half, was it to Bryant? It was either to Bryant or Antonio Brown. I don't remember which one it was. It was right before the end of the first half. I thought that was almost like a borderline difference maker. I thought it was going to really kind of turn the tide. And then when the Steelers blocked the punt, and then they go 3 straight run plays with Le'Veon Bell, they get literally nothing. And then on 4th down, I think it was like 4th and 2 or 4th and 1, Roethlisberger's throwing a 20-yard pass to a guy that was like perfectly covered.
That's what doesn't make any sense. But they just played poorly. It was just bad all around. And look, Jacksonville deserves to go. And here's the only thing that Jacksonville can do this weekend is that you have to get pressure on Tom Brady. If your defense does that, the problem here is this. Blake Bortles wasn't good on Sunday. He wasn't good. Jacksonville won, and Jacksonville scored a lot of points. Leonard Fournette was good. The running game was good. His receivers made some awesome receptions, but he missed guys who were wide open, like wide open. And so Bill Belichick teams you have to play perfectly against, and Blake Bortles I don't think is capable of that. So although I think the Jaguar defense can hold down the Patriot offense, I don't think that you are going to see just simply blown coverages and blown plays the way that you're going to see against the Patriots. I mean, if Leonard Fournette gets 50 yards in this game, it's going to be a huge win for him in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, because Bill Belichick is going to try and stop that.
And the funny thing was that they deactivated Chris Ivory for that game. And they wound up going with TJ Yeldon. And then when Fournette got hurt, when he could barely get off the field at one point, I mean, that was a huge scare. But then he came back. And he played through the pain, and he wound up getting, 3 touchdowns. He had an outstanding game.
On to, really, we're just going to talk about the last play because that's all it really needs to be talked about. If you're like me, I literally, as the Vikings are about to take the field, at the end with 29 seconds left, I think.
Yeah, it was just about.
My phone rings with my food delivery, and I ran downstairs and didn't press pause on my DVR. And when I came back upstairs, the Vikings had won the game. And I had no idea what happened.
It comes down to one simple thing, and that is just
tackle people?
Whiff tackle. And I remember after the game, I was watching like NFL Network post game, and they had Deion Sanders on, and I love Deion Sanders, and he was dead on. He said all he had to do was just make a tackle. Mm-hmm. If he makes that tackle in the open field, game over.
Yeah, it's over.
Because they're not going to get enough time to get everybody on the field for a field goal try, and he would have kept them in bounds. And that's really that's all it really came down to was just one missed tackle.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you're going for the hit. You're going for the highlight reel, right? Like he's going to get on something, NFL films like, big hits of the year 2017.
But how many
times
that's what he's trying to do. How many times you see like players, cornerbacks, linebackers try to shoulder block, and they can't do it, and they can't knock the guy down, and the guy winds up getting an extra 5 or 10 yards. But in Diggs' case, it was a touchdown because he completely missed.
They're two good athletes, and they have too much core strength to be thrown off that easily. I mean, these guys, it's professional. Let's play these calls real quick.
Okay.
Because we'll play the Saints one first.
So
okay.
This is the Saints call
this is
after
Jim
the Diggs
McAllister touchdown. And Deuce. Jim Henderson and Deuce McAllister. Here we go.
Here's Keenum, dropping, looking, throwing near sideline, and it's caught by Stephon Diggs. Who's going to take it inside the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown on the final play of this game. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? And then Deuce McAllister, are you kidding me? Now.
But then after that, it sounded like they were about to jump off a building.
Well, let's be fair. Look, if you're a sports fan and your teams have ever been good at any time, then you know what this feels like. If you're a Giant fan, you still have the image of Flipper Anderson running right up the tunnel. Now, it's not a playoff game, but you still have the image of Deshaun Jackson tiptoeing along the goal line as he's about to cross in. Like, we all have these moments. The problem is yours happened with 10 seconds left in a game you're up. It's unbelievable. Now, since we have the thrill of the agony of defeat, we got to play the thrill of victory. This might be the worst call in the history of radio. And it's not the announcer's fault. It's the guy he's with. It's Paul Allen and the other guy. I'm not even giving him his name because he ruins the call You just listen. It's horrible.
Case on a deep drop, steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side, caught by Diggs. Stay up! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! 30! No! 10! Touchdown! Are you kidding me? It's a Minneapolis Miracle! Stephon Diggs! And the Minnesota Vikings have walked up on the New Orleans Saints. It's a 61-yard Minneapolis Miracle.
Dude, shut up! Shut up! You're both yelling at the same time. You're going, ah, ah, ah! Oh, brutal.
Walk off.
Brutal call. So we got some stuff going on Sunday. We have 2 games that could really kind of be terrible.
No,
I said could be. I said could be. They
here's
could
what
be
I'll say
very
really
good.
quick. Here's what I'll say quickly about the Vikings and Eagle game. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think it's going to be because both defenses are really good. Foles was not great against the Falcons, but he did what he had to do. I thought he did a decent job for the most part under the circumstances. Keenum was actually really good. What I loved about the Saints game, it just went back and forth. Vikings get a field goal, here come the Saints get a field goal. And it just kept going back and forth, and it was a great game. But the thing is, the Saints defense to me is not – it's good.
It's not as good as the Eagle defense.
A little underrated because I actually thought they got a lot of pressure on Keenum in that game.
And this game, folks, if you're young, if you're, say, under the age of 20 and you'd like to know what football was like in the 1980s, watch the NFC Championship game on Sunday. That's what it's going to look like.
It's going to be low scoring,
defense and running.
And heavy running. Yeah.
Yep, defense and running. As for the other game, look,
you just kind of said it.
Here's the thing. Jacksonville's defense has to play a perfect game, and Blake Bortles has to play as close to a perfect game as he's capable of playing. And they have to get a ton of yards out of the running game. I don't know if all those things can happen. I really don't. And I got to be honest with you, the NFL, and nobody would ever admit this, but we love to say things like this because it's fun. The NFL is begging. They're begging the Patriots to win this game. If it's a freaking Blake Bortles, the only thing that saves them is if the Vikings make it in. If it's Blake Bortles against Nick Foles,
because they'll have the home field.
But if it's Blake Bortles against Nick Foles, come on, guys. That's a brutal.
That's gonna be a rough.
Oh, it's a brutal. Now on to it. Let's do a little baseball, and then we'll do a little halftime.
Okay.
Is that good?
Actually, wait. Before we do, we're gonna just real quickly. The Giants are on the verge of naming Pat Shurmur their next head coach, the Vikings offensive coordinator.
Right.
This will most likely become official if the Vikings lose on Sunday.
It's done.
But it's pretty much a done deal because it looks like Matt Patricia is headed to Detroit and Josh McDaniels is headed to the Colts.
Yes.
So you're the Giant fan. Give me your thoughts.
He won 9 games with the Browns over 2 years.
Sorry.
That might be the best thing I could say about a coach right now in the NFL. You won 9 games with the Browns over 2 years. He can't be that bad of a coach. Nobody's done it since.
Touche.
Okay? So you think about that for a second, folks. You think about how ludicrous that statement is. And then you understand what I'm trying to say to you, which is that I absolutely have no idea what this guy is. All I can tell you is he won 9 games with, who was it? Who's the guy with the really fat face who was the quarterback for the Cowboys?
Oh, I don't know.
Brandon Weeden.
Okay.
Brandon Weeden. He won games with him, and he turned Case Keenum into freaking guy who's going to go to the NFC Championship game. So, look, I don't know. To be honest with you, it's going to depend on who his defensive coordinator is. I don't hate the hire. I don't love the hire. It's a Giant hire. It's what the Giants do. The Giants hire old white guys to be their coaches. And every once in a while, they hire a young white guy to be their coach. And that guy sucks and gets fired, and they go back to the old white guy being a coach.
But do you think they should have hired Wilkes?
I don't know. They want somebody. Mara after the McAdoo nightmare.
Okay.
He wanted somebody with experience, a head coaching experience.
Okay.
And so he didn't want to bring in Wilkes. I think that was ended up being that. Plus, if you're going to draft a quarterback, you're better off going with the offensive guy who's known as a quarterback guru, who's known as a quarterback guy.
But then again, you could have Case Keenum next year.
Yes, thank God. Yes, please bring in Case Keenum because that's what I want to do. I want to bring in Case Keenum.
The number to call is 516-945-9099.
That is the number.
Maddie's back on Strong Island TV this week. Again, 516-945-9099. We are the polar opposites. You want to go to Hot Stove real quick?
Yeah, let's just bang it out real quick. There's a lot of stuff's going on, mostly trades.
Yeah, but pretty much, again, it's still, I would say at best, the Hot Stove is lukewarm. And I know it's like using it's like a cheesy cliche type of term because
If
that's what everybody's been joking.
But if you
the fact
include
is,
trades,
nobody's signing contracts.
right? But if you include trades in it, the hot stove is actually pretty hot. But most people don't include trades in the hot stove.
Yeah.
Here's the problem: the Yankees and the Dodgers are not spending money.
That's it.
And when the Yankees and Dodgers don't spend money, well, then guess what? Other teams don't spend money because they usually set the market by signing the biggest free agent, and everybody else goes from there.
I think in a way, maybe not as high as the Yankees and the Dodgers, but I think also the Red Sox, because the Red Sox normally would have already countered on after the Stanton trade, because they're always trying to keep up with the Yankees in some way, shape, or form. So if the Yankees going to make a big deal, the Red Sox are going to try to make a big deal if they can. The problem is, there's really no one out there.
No. The Red Sox want to sign JD Martinez. That if the Red Sox had their druthers, they would sign JD Martinez tomorrow. The problem is, I think he wants a 7-year, and I think they want to give him a 5. Now look, JD Martinez is he's going to end up getting a 5-year deal because it's the owners are. I don't know if they. I don't want to say they all planned this, but they've all basically.
They're wising up to it.
But they've all basically. They're getting exactly what they wanted, which is a fake salary cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
This tax threshold has become a fake salary cap. So what they've done is now the Yankees and Dodgers saying we want to get under this, so we have to stop sending money to all these teams. And so what are we going to do to get under it? We're not going to sign anybody this year. Next year, it's going to be like a drunken sailor with $1 million. It's going to be like Brewster's Millions next year, okay? They're just going to be throwing money around left and right. They just won't do it this year. We all thought it was going to be a great free agent class this year, but nobody's really signed. Now, you had a bunch of trades. You had McCutchen going to the Giants. You have Evan Longoria going to the Giants.
Cole going to the Astros.
Which was a huge trade for them.
Stanton going to the Yankees.
Well, yes.
We're just talking about in general.
And then you have the Mets signing the same guy twice, Jay Bruce and Adrian Gonzalez. I'm not sure why you sign a left-handed first baseman unless you are literally giving up on Dominic Smith. It doesn't make any sense to me. I would have had him and Wilmer Flores at least do some sort of platoon and let him play. But if the other guy's left-handed, it's Adrian Gonzalez, he's going to play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the signing. I know why they did the signing. It doesn't make me feel any better about it, to be honest with you.
I don't love the Bruce signing, to be honest with you.
I'm okay with the Bruce signing. For what they got, what they gave him for 3 years and $39 million. That's actually not a bad deal for Jay Bruce. And I thought Jay Bruce was a good Met for the most part. He came when he first got here. He wasn't that good, but then last year I thought he was much better. Look, at the end of the day, this is the types of moves they're going to make, and Matt and I have talked about it 100 times over. So it's not surprising that they're going to wait out these guys. I don't understand the point of signing Adrian Gonzalez, who is 35. He only played 71 games last year. He's coming off a herniated disc.
To be fair, that's the first time he's ever been on the DL, I think.
That's fine,
but still, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah,
he's
not
going to.
I mean, now is he in any type of game shape right now? Is he working out? We don't know. These are things we don't know, and it's kind of a big deal going into spring training because look, pitchers and catchers is right around the corner. We're only a month away.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what the Mets think of Dominic Smith. I think they should just give him a shot to be the first baseman, and then, I would have been fine with Flores for the millionth time platooning at first base because this is all I've heard for the past 4 or 5 years is, we got Wilmer Flores playing first base, and when he's not crying at shortstop after getting traded, then he's going to go to first base and play here. At the end of the day, I don't think the sample size was enough for Dominic Smith. I think he needs more time. Now, look, his conditioning is an issue, and hopefully he's gotten under control. I don't think he has because I just don't think he has. But right now, I think I would have gone for somebody a little different than Adrian Gonzalez because if Adrian Gonzalez gets hurt, you're just right back to square one anyway. And that's a high probability of happening.
Yes.
So I don't know where else the Mets go from here. I'm okay with the Bruce signing. I like the Bruce signing. I'm fine with it. But at the end of the day, I would like to see them hopefully make the trade for Josh Harrison with the Pirates. If they don't, then we're just going to be an average to below average team. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, and you're counting on a lot of players who haven't been healthy over the last 2 years to be healthy, and I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can count on. Now, I think Syndergaard if he gets that issue worked out, his problem wasn't arm, elbow. It wasn't like pitching arm related. But when you have a guy like Matz and Harvey who have not been healthy for 2 years, I don't know how you can just count on them to be healthy. So
my thing with Harvey is, and this is like so Met-like, is he's going to win 20 games this year in a contract year and walk.
Yeah, but you don't want to give him money anyway. I wouldn't give Matt Harvey money.
But the thing is, I wouldn't for that reason because he hasn't pitched a full season in like 3 years.
Right.
So, but it makes sense for that to happen. Now, if that happens and he's pitching really well this
Trade
year,
him. You trade him. Yeah, he's gone. Goodbye.
Because because I don't think the Mets are going to contend this year anyway. I don't think they're going to be a wild card team.
No.
I think too many things have to be perfectly put in place for the Mets to be a wild card team. So I'd rather just see what I can get out of these guys. If Harvey has a strong season, there's going to be teams looking for starting pitching, and that's where you trade them. Because the way the Mets are built right now, they're not contending for anything.
No,
in my opinion,
they are
no
not.
way.
As for the Yankees, they got feet in the water. We're going to talk about that a little later. Look. The Garrett Cole thing sucks, but you know what? I'm happy that Brian Cashman isn't just willy-nilly throwing these guys around. You know what I mean? And like, I'd rather if you think what they were asking for Garrett Cole was too much, I'm going to trust you, Brian Cashman. I'm going to trust you on this because the teams are going to try and hold you up for more because you're the Yankees. They always try and do that. So I like what you're doing. Just relax. And plus, our pitching staff is good. I'm not really worried about it.
At the end of the day, the Yankees didn't sacrifice anything. I mean, they would have had to give up a few prospects for Cole, but they're content with going into the year with Torres and Andujar. Andujar playing third and Torres playing second, which isn't that the way it's going to be anyway? Isn't that by next year?
And let's be fair, if those guys don't hit right away, you have Judge, Stanton, and
so they have plenty of time to develop and grow into that role. And if you put them, I don't know where they would put a guy like Gleyber Torres in the lineup, or Andujar I think would hit the bottom.
They would be like 8. Both
Andujar
of them would be
I predict
like 8.
would be in the 9th spot.
But they would both be like 8, 9.
So in that sense, look, the Yankees I think overall did the right thing. I think they, by standing pat, that's exactly what, I think their rotation is fine going into the year, especially with Jordan Montgomery as your 5th. But at the same time, listen, I understand if you wanted to make the deal for Cole, but if you're not willing to give up guys like Torres or Andujar, then don't bother. Just leave it as is.
I got you.
So before we get to halftime, we did English calls of the games, but Maddie and I love nothing more than a Spanish call.
That's true.
So what we're going to do is we could not find a Spanish call for the Vikings touchdown, which was really mind-boggling because it's all over ESPN Deportes. It's all over all these channels.
Nonsense.
So what we decided to do was we had a call from last week of Alabama-Georgia championship game with Alabama scoring the winning touchdown. Mm-hmm. So we're going to play it in Spanish because for some reason, and I think you'll agree, Spanish commentators do it 10 times better.
It's called flair, Craig. Here you go.
Taigo Baloa debió haber disparado antes. Bueno, debió haber disparado ese balón.
I have no idea who's on the field right now.
Y ahora sí despertó el público. Taigo Baloa con el pase largo tiene a su hombre. ¡Touchdown! ¡Alabama es el campeón! ¡Devonta Smith!
And the best is hearing the Spanish guy talking and the marching band playing in the background.
He says Taigo Baloa better than anybody, and everybody was trying to say it the next day on ESPN. It was fantastic.
That's not as good as your Didi Gregorius call.
Oh, no. Didi.
That is one of the best calls. This will be a running theme on our show. Whenever we find it, we're definitely going to play him. But we have reached the halfway point of the show. And Maddie, you ready to do a little halftime?
Sure, let's do it.
Halftime, 4 topics. Pretty much anything goes, any sport, a lot of stuff happening, and we're going to just kind of fire right through it. So, Maddie, are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Number 1. Chris Paul's return to Los Angeles resulted in a loss for his new team and plenty of drama during and after the game. Tempers flared between Blake Griffin and probably the whole Rockets roster, including head coach Mike D'Antoni. After the game, James Harden, Trevor Ariza, and Gerald Green tried pushing their way into the Clippers' locker room to confront Austin Rivers, who was running his mouth on the sideline along with Patrick Beverley. Paul and a few Rockets teammates tried to enter through a back door that connects both team locker rooms. Remember, Paul played for the Clippers, so he knows the ins and outs of that whole arena, to confront Blake Griffin. And then on top of that, Rocket center Clint Capella was banging loudly on the Clips locker room door, trying another altercation with Blake Griffin before all were finally escorted out by security. So, Maddie, in your opinion, who's the instigator in the Clippers-Rockets almost brawl?
Apparently, Trevor Ariza was the most the guy who lost his mind the most. What I'll say is this, is all these things are hysterical. And if you haven't seen the video of Shaq and Charles laughing about this, do that because it's hysterical. Just them laughing at this whole thing. This is nonsense. then tonight in the Magic game, you had Aaron Aflalo take a swing at some dude on the Magic. What is going on, guys? What is going on? First of all, none of you know how to fight. You're all idiots, and none of you know how to fight. Okay, that's the first thing. You swing like morons. You swing like little kids trying to slap each other. So just stop. And it's all talk and no bluster. It's like when Melo and KG. Remember when KG said that about something about Melo's wife?
Yeah.
And they were all like, hold me back! Hold me back! Relax, everybody. All right, relax.
Well, you have this brawl, you have the Magic brawl, then you had a guy punch out a policeman on a police horse at the Eagle game.
Guys.
I mean, what is going on?
Well, they're not following my rule, Craig. The one rule, don't touch people. It's one rule, just follow it. Your life will be so much better. Number 2, what do we got here? The Tennessee Titans decided to fire head coach Mike Mularkey after they failed to reach an agreement on a contract extension. After the Titans lost to the Patriots on Saturday night, there was a report saying the team and Mularkey were working on a new contract for him to remain head coach in Tennessee. But yesterday, the Titans and Mularkey couldn't reach an agreement on a new contract, and the team decided to fire him. Craig, did the Titans get cold feet in committing Mularkey long-term? Did the Titans get cold feet in committing to Mularkey long-term as coach? I can read. Listen, Hooked on Phonics worked for me just fine. Just stop. You word things very weird. Just answer the question.
Maybe I'll just talk into it from now.
Just answer the question.
Yeah, I actually think they did because, well, first of all, what's really weird is that the fact that the Titans and Mike Mularkey are having so much trouble coming to an agreement when probably no one would hire Mularkey outside of Tennessee.
Mike, take a step back.
So there's that. At the end of the day, I think after the loss, the Titans maybe were just like, maybe he's just not that good of a coach, and I don't know if I want to get him up to a new extension. The problem is that now all the coaches have picked their teams. So who's left out there outside of maybe Steve Wilks from the Panthers? So I think that maybe the Titans didn't do a great job with this whole thing, but I can understand why they didn't. I can understand why they didn't want to commit to the guy because they probably think this is as good as it's going to get. So and I could easily argue that Mularkey is part of the. I think Mariota regressed this year, and I think he's part of the reason because of that. But at the end of the day, I just think that at this point, who's going to coach the team now? Because if you bring in someone else, they're going to just wipe out the whole staff anyway.
Chip Kelly.
He's already at UCLA.
College coaches, college? That's nothing. A college contract is like a piece of paper you wipe your butt with.
He's not leaving.
Gone.
He's not leaving. Tennessee.
Leaving.
He's not. So then they thought that it was going to be McDaniels, but then McDaniels is going to probably commit to Indianapolis.
But we don't know that yet. None of those things have been signed. So McDaniels could go to the Titans if he wants to. He'd be nuts to, but he could go there if he wanted to.
But I think I think at the end of the day, the Titans are pretty much like, well, I guess this is as good as it's going to get. And I don't think they're going to be any better than this, even though we play in one of the worst divisions in all of football. So, number 3, J.D. Martinez still remains unsigned with about a month before pitchers and catchers report, but he's not about to rush and sign a contract anytime soon. According to John Heyman, Martinez is willing to hold out until spring training for what he believes should be a fair market value deal. The Red Sox and Diamondbacks are really the only 2 teams that were interested or showing a strong interest in Martinez, who was looking for a deal in the $180 million range, similar to what your boy Jason Hayward did. So, Maddie, here we go. Does a holdout make any sense for a player who hasn't signed yet?
I mean,
no.
No, because what are you doing? Look, baseball is one of those things where J.D. Martinez, if you hold out for a year, other guys are going to do what you did, and then they're going to get that money because they played last year and you didn't. Sign a 1-year contract with somebody, a 1-year $15 million contract with somebody. Do that, but don't hold out. Don't hold out. That'll be something you'll like. It's just a terrible idea because everyone will just pass you up. No one's going to sign you then. You'll have had a year off, and you'll be, 29? Was it 28 now? I think it's 28, so. 29, something like that. So just listen, JD, if you don't like any of the offers on the table, it's easy. Take a 1-year contract at, say, $15 million. There's a ton of teams that would do that. Hell, the Mets might even do that for 1 year.
That's probably what they would do.
Might for 1 year.
At the end of the day,
though. Remember, he plays for the Mariners now. He played for the Orioles. He did that with them.
Cruz?
Yeah. Nobody gave Nelson Cruz money. He went and played with the Baltimore Orioles, hit like 1 billion home runs. They got a huge contract with the Mariners.
But to me, this just seems like an empty threat because I don't think J.D. Martinez is going to sit out the season, and I think he'll let it go as far as he can. But if the only 2 teams that are really showing an interest in you right now are Boston and Arizona, there's something about you they don't like enough to give you that kind of money. So they're going to sit there basically like, all right, we'll wait.
I will say this, though,
I mean,
and this is something that he can do. He can wait as long as possible, as long as he's ready to go. The thing for me is this, is that I think that Boston needs him just as much as he needs Boston. Because if Boston doesn't do anything, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They were last in the league in homers last year, and the Yankees just added 52 of them. They don't have a farm system to speak of because they traded all those guys away. So the Red Sox need right-handed power. They need power in that lineup. And so they may end up caving on this because just from sheer pressure of need and what they have to do to move forward.
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
All right. Number 4. There are 6 teams eligible for the HBO series Hard Knocks, but already a few of the teams have no interest in participating. Niners GM John Lynch recently said in an interview that it's not something they would be really excited about. And the Ravens are citing ongoing construction at their team facility as a reason they're not interested. That will leave the Broncos, Browns, Chargers, and Redskins as the 4 remaining teams that could be chosen. Craig, out of the 4 teams remaining, which one would be the best fit for HBO's Hard Knocks?
See, I was trying to think about this because part of me wanted to say the Browns just because they came off an 0-16 season, and then just how bad the team has been over the years. And maybe something like this might be decent publicity for them, might be the best publicity they're going to get in a way, because the Browns are a team that probably haven't been good since the movie Draft Day, right? When there was more excitement around them. And then I thought about the Chargers, and the thing about the Chargers is they don't really have much of a fan base anymore in Los Angeles because nobody really cares that they're there. Right?
Sure.
They couldn't sell out a soccer stadium for crying out loud.
Right.
So for me, I guess it would be between the Broncos and the Redskins. And if I had to choose between the two, I think I would go with Washington. I just think that Washington might be the better choice. I think their fan base is more like, they're a stronger fan base. They play in the NFC East. The only thing about the Redskins is that they could be going under overhaul too, because if Cousins doesn't return to the team, there's just nothing really to like about the Redskins. But I don't know. Part of me
Snyder
thinks
might be fun.
But that's what I'm saying. He might want to do it for the sake of the publicity for the team more than any of the other teams. I don't think the Broncos want anything to do with it. I don't think Elway wants anything to do with it. So if you look at the Browns, you do it because they're bad. The Redskins, I think, more because of Snyder, and I think Snyder will probably give you some good quotes because at the end of the day, Snyder does remind me a lot of like a Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
So I think he would want the publicity. I think he'd want the cameras at his arena, at his stadium, and on his team, and everything. So out of all 4 teams, I'll take the Redskins just because the other teams, the 2 in the middle, the Chargers don't have much of a fan base, so no one really care about it if you're in Los Angeles. The Browns, nothing is good. It's going well in Cleveland, and I just don't think Elway wants anything to do with it. So I'll take the Redskins on this one.
All right. I've never watched Hard Knocks. Never would watch.
I don't
Hard
really
Knocks.
see what the big
I've
deal
never
is about.
cared. I don't care.
But here's the thing. I actually like Hard Knocks, but it hasn't been good recently. I never really understood what the big deal was about them being there. I understand that maybe it's a little bit of a distraction, but I guess it depends on the team and who the coach is and stuff like that.
I just don't care. I don't like. I'll read the reports. Like I would never. It's
Well,
not
that's
something I
fair.
would ever
Well, that's
watch.
fair if you don't care about it, but I'm saying there are a lot of people who do.
Oh no, they do, and
So I'm
that's why
saying,
people
like,
watch it, and that's great.
But that's why I can't figure out why it wouldn't be such a big deal for teams to have their.
As long as it's not the Giants.
Well, the Giants wouldn't qualify anyway because they have a new coach. That's one of the guidelines to not being on Hard
Oh, I
Knocks.
like that. There you go.
So it's either that, you haven't been on the show in like 15 years. The Ravens are qualified because it's been at least 10 since they were on it. And I forgot the other one in general. So give me the Redskins for Hard Knocks. I think that would probably be the best team.
Let's do it.
All right, halftime is officially over. Once again, we are the Polar Opposites. Give us a shout if you want to talk sports with us. 516-945-9099.
Boom.
Again, 516-945-9099. We've got about 10 minutes until Polar Bipolar, which gives us plenty of time, Maddie,
Yes.
to do Buzzer versus Bell.
Buzzer versus Bell.
So give me a buzzer.
Or institutionalized for the rest of your life for the terminally bewildered because your mind is gone.
Sorry.
One of the all-time greatest
one of the all-time
managers
greatest.
in history.
Buzzer.
And Bell. So here's the topic for today, Maddie. We don't have a lot of
do it.
time, so we're going to do it.
Bring it on.
I came across an
Constantly on.
article. What's that?
Nothing.
Okay. I came across an article, and the question was plain and simple. With Hot Stove being as slow as it's been, could a team of remaining free agents make the playoffs as a wild card or as a division winner?
Okay.
Okay. So first of all,
Yeah.
the report comes from ESPN.com.
Buzzer.
Really?
Yeah.
Already?
Buzzer.
Why?
Because ESPN.com. Because
Why?
Because this is what this is.
Why?
Because what? Why?
That's not an answer.
Why you have? There's things you
That's
can,
not it.
like.
This
Okay,
is not an answer.
ESPN.com, guys, have less people and don't do 24-hour news. You have somebody following LeVar Ball, and you're doing this. Okay, so take a couple minutes, take a deep breath, understand that I don't need new content every 3 minutes, and have people write stories that make sense.
Okay, but when I ask you a question, you can't go like, I'm like, why? And you're like, but.
It took me a second to get all my rage and anger into words. Sometimes it takes a second.
It took you a lot more than that.
But you're just gonna have to deal with it sometimes, okay? You're just gonna have to deal with it sometimes. That's the way life goes.
Okay, this is what
Life
I deal with.
can't all be Cracker Jacks and candy bars.
This is what I deal with every week. Okay, Maddie, so here we go.
Yes.
I'm going to break it down by rotation,
Yes.
bullpen,
Okay.
starting lineup, and bench.
Now, when you want me to hit buzzer or bell is, assuming the rest of the team is awesome, is that pitching staff good enough to go to the playoffs?
After each section, I want you
Gotcha.
to tell me if it's buzzer or bell.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to start with starting pitching.
Do
so
it.
this would be the 5-man rotation according to ESPN.com.
Uh-huh.
Darvish, Arrieta, Jaime Garcia, Alex Cobb, and a fifth of either Lance Lynn or Jason Vargas.
To make the playoffs. Are you talking about make the playoffs or win the World
Is this
Series?
rotation good enough to get a team to the playoffs? We're not talking World Series.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing?
No, it's a really good rotation, a good regular season
And that
rotation.
just says a mouthful
Jake Arrieta,
about-
Yu Darvish. I mean, and Alex Cobb is a really good pitcher. You can't look at win-loss with some of these guys because they were on bad teams. You have to look at WHIP, you got to look at ERA, and that's a good rotation.
Okay. The bullpen.
Yeah.
Trevor Cahill, Francisco Liriano, Oliver Perez.
No. You
I haven't
no.
finished.
Stop! I don't
I haven't
care.
finished.
I don't care.
We haven't got to the
You have Francisco Liriano and Oliver Perez. If you wanted to finish, you should have saved Oliver Perez for last. Because any bullpen that is Oliver Perez is not going anywhere unless it's the Nationals and he happens to be on a team where he doesn't have to do anything. If he doesn't have to do anything, maybe.
I haven't finished
But it
the
doesn't
rest.
matter. The rest of it doesn't matter.
Can I finish the rest of the
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to finish anyway.
Okay.
Tony Watts. Brandon Kinsler. And closer, Greg Holland.
Oh. I think Greg Holland's a good pitcher. I'm kidding. I'm joking right now. But that's a terrible bullpen because you would never get to Greg Holland because Oliver Perez would have blown a save by that point or the hold or whatever the hell it is. Let's move on.
Okay. This is the starting lineup, but it's by position.
Do it.
It doesn't have it
It's
broken
fine.
down.
It doesn't matter. I
Okay.
know where they all play.
Catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. First baseman, Eric Hosmer. Second baseman, Neil Walker. Shortstop, Jose Reyes. Third base, Mike Moustakas. Left field, Lorenzo Cain. Center field, Carlos Gomez. And right field, J.D. Martinez. There we go, Matty.
That's actually a decent lineup. I mean, you could bat Neil Walker like ninth in that lineup. I mean, it's essentially the Kansas City Royals and a couple guys.
Well,
So-
remember, if it's in the National League, then you'd have to bat like
Right,
8.
and nobody cares about the National League because the pitcher hitting is ludicrous. But that's besides the point. That's a good hit. That's a good enough team lineup-wise to get you to the playoffs, yes.
Now, what happens if Neil Walker's back goes out?
Well, Jose Reyes can play second. You got to think they're going to have guys on the bench and whatnot. And I don't.
Well, I'll get to the bench in a
And
minute.
you also, the bench. Okay, let's do the bench.
Okay, here we go.
Yes,
Now, I just did a 5-man bench.
sure, that's fine.
Okay. Backup catcher, Alex Avila.
Okay,
Infield, Todd Frazier.
okay.
Utility guy, Eduardo Nunez.
Nooney, nice. Okay,
Outfielder, Carlos Gonzalez,
okay.
Cargo. And outfielder, John Jay.
Yes, that bench is good enough to get your team to the playoffs. You got a lot of good bats off the bench there. You got some good players. Todd Frazier, good player. Nunez can play short. He can play second. You got Todd Frazier to play third and first. You're good to go.
So can we do the bullpen again?
No.
Why?
Because that bullpen is terrible. You mentioned Oliver Perez. Stop.
He's a lefty specialist.
Stop.
He's a
Just
lefty specialist.
Stop. Okay?
He's
I'm
a
surprised
lefty
the Mets
specialist.
didn't sign him. Stop.
No, I think it's a good thing the Mets didn't sign him.
He's coming. He's going to be the next
No,
big signing.
he's going to be on a minor league deal. Get ready.
It's only lefties. The Mets are only signing lefties for every position.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
over-under on this team. 86 wins.
Well, I think, yeah. Actually, let me rephrase that. If they're in the American League East, maybe not. If they're in the National League West, maybe not.
Actually, I think if they're in the AL Central, they wouldn't.
And the AL Central too, maybe not. But I think in the NL Central they would. I think in the AL East they would. And I think in the NL East they would. In the AL West, I think they would.
How about the NL West?
No. I think
Why?
Arizona and the Rockies are good teams. The Dodgers are good team.
Okay. I thought you meant, okay. I'm saying
I'm saying they wouldn't. I'm saying they would make
That's
it
what
in
it
the
sounded
AL in the AL West, NL Central, NL East. How's that? Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think the NL West, they'd probably be
Yes,
the
absolutely.
toughest
I
time
agree.
out of
I
all.
agree. I agree.
All right.
That's
ready?
good. We're on that.
I
All
think we're
right.
good, man.
Buzzer and bell. We got a couple minutes before we got to do polar bipolar. So,
Good.
well, we do a lot. We talk about stuff other than sports, and we do all sorts of different things.
Yes.
Raw is having its
Oh, I can't wait.
anniversary. This was a
25th anniversary.
25th anniversary. And I just wanted to get you. You're a big wrestling guy. I watched Raw probably up until like 1998. I
Right.
would say. So I'm more of the beginning. I'm more of the guy who watched the MSG, the main event show on Saturday nights and stuff like that. So, but let me hear one of your top moments.
Top moment from Raw. Wow. I think, well, my personal favorite moment of Raw had actually not as much to do with WWE, and it was when the night that ECW invaded Raw in the Manhattan Center.
Okay.
And the first thing they did was, you didn't know when it was coming, and then all of a sudden, like some guys fixing a turnbuckle, like in between matches, and they just run right through the crowd. They hop over the fence and they hop over the guardrail, and the Eliminators just do total elimination on this guy who looked like he was like 18 years old. Right? This guy's head just like went into like section 105 or something like that. That was one of the best ones, and like I remember Vince McMahon took a lot of crap for that because a lot of his wrestlers were pissed because they were giving valuable TV time to a federation that was just kind of trying to get their, their feet in the ground. And he took a lot of crap, but he was the kind of guy that saw a lot of opportunity. That, for me, was one of the best ones. That was also the night where Sabu was on the Raw letters. Remember the big plush Raw letters? And he slipped and he fell. Like he couldn't keep his balance because it was so like, it wasn't really like a sturdy thing. And he like lost his balance and he almost like fell like before like the crowd was supposed to catch him. So that was actually pretty good. And the other thing that I remember, I don't remember too much of the Raws from back in the day, like a long time ago, but I do remember X-Pac, who back then was the 1-2-3 Kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Defeated Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon
with a moonsault and they won the match, and that's how he kind of got into the Federation. A lot of people thought Razor Ramon was like on punishment, like he got in trouble for something, so in order to he had to lose to this kid who was again like 18 years old or whatever. But that was probably one of the best ones. But there's so many others. I mean,
I think this was Raw. The only one I really remember was when Stone Cold hit Vince McMahon with like the water hose.
Yes.
That was one of the ones I remember.
But that was when, that was a great Raw. That was a Manhattan Center. But like I remember I was at the Raw when he first stunned McMahon.
Okay.
That was the one at Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
Then there was one where I remember when Cactus Jack first came back, like he was like, that was when Mick Foley was doing like his multiple personalities, or like Mankind. And then probably the number one thing they ever did on Raw, in my opinion, I mean, there's so many, so it's really tough to like, but when they did Mankind did The Rock with This Is Your Life segment,
right,
with his coach and his ex-girlfriend, and like The Rock just rips into them like the whole time. That's like probably one of the funny. It was also one of the highest rated segments they ever got. And the thing was about Raw was a lot of it was pre-taped. A lot of people didn't know that. It wasn't always live. And then what happened was Nitro, if you ever want to see a great documentary, the Monday Night Wars is one of the best documentaries like I've ever seen. Nitro used to kind of spill the beans on what was going on Raw. And they would act like really smug about it. And Tony Schiavone had made an announcement during Nitro that, if you're going to go to Raw, Mick Foley's going to win the title. Like, Mick Foley's a dope or whatever. And everybody went to Raw to watch Mick Foley win the title from The Rock.
Nice.
And ever since that moment,
Right.
Nitro never won again against Raw on
There you
Monday
go.
Night Raw. So it should be a great show. There's a lot of guys. I mean, Flair, Undertaker, Kevin Nash,
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, all confirmed. It's going to be an amazing show.
You ready?
I can't wait.
You want to close it out?
Let's do it. Polar Bipolar rounds out our show for this week. 10 topics, anything goes, all opinions vary, all opinions legal, all opinions matter.
No.
Yes, they do.
No.
Yes, they do. Stop. I'm starting to think I liked it better when I was by myself a couple of weeks ago. Okay? So, Matty, are you ready?
Oh!
Okay, Matty, here we go. Polar or bipolar? Carlos Hyde is right. The Niners will be in the Super Bowl next year.
No,
Buzzer.
stop, no, just stop, okay? Just because Jimmy Garoppolo came in a season where you guys were just crap in the bed and you won 5 games doesn't mean you're going to the Super Bowl next year. Everybody take a deep breath, okay? Just because Jimmy G has never lost a game doesn't mean he's going to the Super Bowl next year. You're a moron. And I appreciate your exuberance for your team, but it's never going to happen. If the Niners win the Super Bowl next year, I will do something. I don't know what yet, but it'll be terrible for me. I promise you, because it's never going to happen. Ever. Number 2, Craig, it's time to worry about the Cavs.
I say bipolar. I don't know. I mean, the Cavs I think they're still going to be in it at the end of the day because the East is still very weak. And it's always going to be a very weak conference. I do think they're tuning out Tyronn Lue, which I guess I can't say I'm surprised.
Did you see that fight where he was yelling at everybody in the thing and he just starts yelling at Lue and Lue just shuts up?
Yeah. Like, there's no way that Tyronn Lue can continue being the coach of this team because I think he's completely lost the team. They're just going to keep doing what they want to do and they're going to follow LeBron James's lead. At this point, though, who's going to coach the team at this stage in the season? I mean,
David Fizdale's available.
but I'm
not kidding, man. David Fizdale was available.
But I'm saying that's fine. But the problem is, again, it's just you have a bunch of guys, and the thing is, a trade's not going to help this team now. I mean, they should just be playing with. They have a talented enough roster to compete. Maybe not necessarily get the number 1 seed from the Celtics, but they have plenty of guys. Whether it's James, whether it's Tristan Thompson, whether it's Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Love. This team is stacked. So there's no reason why they can't compete. I know they're going to keep losing games like this, but adding another guy to this piece, whether it was like there was talk about it being DeAndre Jordan or whatever, I just think at this point, just get rid of Tyronn Lue because LeBron has tuned him out and the rest of the team has tuned him out. And that's the only way I think the Cavs are going to ever take that next step forward. Bringing back David Blatt. I don't know. Number 3. Matty, polar or bipolar? The punter is secretly hoping his team does bad so he can play.
Polar. Yes. That's what they're doing.
Well, you can say bipolar because if you're a punter, go sign with a bad team so you'll guarantee to play every week.
Yeah, but also you do want to punt. Like, you don't want to not punt. Like, you want to be that idiot from that King guy from the Raiders who does stupid dances every time he puts one in the 5-yard line. Like punters got flair, man. Punters need to be seen. They're punters. But yes, I do think that sometimes they secretly think. Like, I think the punter for Aaron Rodgers is like, this is freaking boring. I wish you'd go 3 and out so I could punt the damn football.
What do you think he's doing on the sideline?
Nothing.
Not even playing like...
No, he's following Danica
Minesweeper?
Patrick on Twitter.
Not playing Minesweeper?
No. Number 4, reporters doing an NFL mock draft every week is a complete waste of time.
This is polar. The thing is, like, while it's not a terrible read, they just come up with these really ridiculous, like, fabrications of, oh, well, the Broncos, instead of taking a quarterback, are now going to take a running back this week. And they just try to tweak it. But the thing is the draft pretty much stays the same past, like, number 5.
Or at least
they
don't
never
do them.
change it.
Well, at least don't do them until after the combine, right?
I would do them like, if you're going to do a mock draft for an NFL, just do it once a month. You know, maybe change up, because you never know. Maybe news changes after that. But the problem is also as soon as something breaks, like let's say the Giants, this is a hypothetical. Let's say the Giants sign Kirk Cousins. It'll never happen. I'm just saying, let's say it does. 15 minutes after that signing, mock draft coming out with the Giants.
Yeah, they got to do that.
Now the thing is that every week you're just coming up with ways to try to figure things out, but at the end of the day, it's still not going to change anything, and it just doesn't make any sense. I think it's just a way for them to say, well, this is a pretty slow week, so let's see what happens if the Giants draft a tight end with the second overall thing. It's things like that to me that just don't make any sense with it. So if you're going to do it, fine, do it like once a month. Number 5, Matty, polar or bipolar? The Yu Darvish to the Yankees rumors are completely overblown.
Absolutely polar, because the Yankees are never giving him 7 years. It's just never going to happen. That's real simple. That's the easiest answer I can give you. Number 6, the Andrew McCutchen trade hurts the Yankees as well as the Mets.
I'm going to say bipolar. I don't really see how it hurts the Yankees. I don't really see how it hurts the Mets, to be honest. I would have liked to have McCutchen, but I'm okay with them not getting him. I mean, I like Bruce all the same. I didn't even realize. I think they're both the same age.
Yeah, I think they are, yeah.
Okay, I thought McCutchen was a little younger.
Bruce got called up really young, that's why.
But it doesn't really change. Like, listen, I like McCutchen. I would have been happy if they got McCutchen or Bruce. I would have been perfectly fine with it. But I don't necessarily think it hurts them. And I think what it's really doing for the Pirates is they're just starting to go into that fire sale mode again, where now Josh Harrison now wants out of Pittsburgh. He's sounding like he wants to trade out because he knows the Pirates are not going to be a very good team next year, so he doesn't want to be part of that. He's under team control, though, so whoever trades for him may have to give up a lot because he's under a pretty team-friendly contract for the next 3 years, I think, till like 2020 or 2021. It's only going to cost him, like, at most $14 million. But at the end of the day, no, I don't think it really hurts either team. I think either one is fine the way it is. Matty, number 7, polar or bipolar? Cleveland fans deserve credit for a sense of humor after having a parade to celebrate an 0-16 season.
Oh, that is absolutely bipolar.
Oh, I disagree.
Losing begets losing. If you're going to be a loser and you're going to celebrate 0-16, guess what's going to happen? Your team's going to continue to lose every year, and you're going to be partly to blame because you allowed it to happen. You should never have done this. Only loser cities do stuff like this. Only loser cities do stuff like this. Nonsense.
I say polar because the fact that they just had garbage trucks and everything going through this, and it was basically just a lap around the stadium.
It's still nonsense. Number 8, despite their playoff run, Sean Payton is still overrated.
This is polar. I think it's 100% polar.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I know he won the Super Bowl, and that, I always say that was a different time. I mean, with Katrina and everything, and that was actually a pretty good Saints team. This Saints team is actually one of the best they've had in a long time because they're not that 7-9, 8-8 team anymore. Their defense is actually respectable now. Mm-hmm. They think they're still missing a couple of pieces, but I think they're on their way to being a really good defense. Dennis Allen did a great job, I think, this year with this team. And Sheldon Rankins, the defensive lineman, I think is one of the most underrated draft picks of that class. He's had last year he broke his fibula, came back and had a monster year. He had a great game against the Vikings. That being said, though, Peyton hasn't won a Super Bowl in, 2007, 2008? Does that sound about right? Yeah. So you're talking almost 9 years without a Super Bowl. And the thing was, the Saints really weren't any better until now, when they finally developed a running game and they finally developed a defense, which is what Matt and I and probably everyone else was saying about the Saints for Lord knows how long. That being said, he made a lot of bonehead decisions in those games, too, that almost come back to bite him in the ass, especially against the Panthers and against the Vikings. 2 challenges on the same drive, yeah, overrated in my opinion. Number 9, polar or bipolar, Matty? The creation of a John Wick series has officially killed a very underrated movie franchise.
I think it's polar because it's not about John Wick, it's about the hotel. So I don't think that kills the franchise, which is an awesome franchise, by the way. The movies are awesome. If you've never seen them, check them out. They are awesome. But it's about the hotel, so it could be really cool. I don't think it kills it. If it was about John Wick, then yes, I think it would kill it.
Well,
I think it being about the... Yes, then it's yes, because I always do that. Number 10, Goldberg should not be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I had a little bit of time to think about this, and I'll say polar based off of his run as a major superstar, however short that was. It wasn't really a long run, but when you actually saw Goldberg wrestle, like actually have a wrestling match, he was terrible. He was only good at just kind of doing a quick, quick move and wins the title. He did it against Hogan and everything. But when he actually wrestled, I remember they showed him wrestling William Regal. He was all over the place. He couldn't really do anything. He just was completely lost in the ring. But the WWE Hall of Fame, to me, while I think it's some good to it, I think at the same time it's a little bit of a farce for me. So he's okay in my opinion, but I think he's all right just off that run he had. But outside of that, for me, nothing more. And with that, Polar Bipolar is over, and this episode of Polar Opposites is over. And we'd like to thank everybody for watching on Strong Island TV. Check us out at Spreaker.com, iTunes, TuneIn Radio. Follow us on Twitter at PolarOpposites1. We are no longer on Podbean.com. And we are back live on Strong Island TV on Tuesday night, January 30th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, right before the Super Bowl. So enjoy the week, enjoy the championship games, enjoy life, enjoy everything. Maddie, good to have you back. And we will talk again on Strong Island TV on January 30th.
Bye.